Hey, you are listening still
Still.
listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. We're still here, just a little injured. I am your host, Caleb James. With me today, Spencer, the Serengeti Squirrel Sniffer Church.
They smell so nice.
Are there squirrels in the Serengeti? Where exactly is the Serengeti? It's a desert.
Yeah, it's hot, right?
Hot. I don't think there's too many squirrels in the hot desert. If you are reading the title of this episode, or more specifically, if you kept up with the DPW news over the last week, you are aware that we had a catastrophe. Spencer here has only got the bare bones of the situation.
Yeah. I don't even know the full deets yet.
I figured I will explain everything to everybody because,
No one's.
it is bullshit, and we had to shut down the DPW website. We didn't have to, actually, but I just felt it was a good idea. And first and foremost, I'd like to just say I'm kind of humbled by the outpouring of comments, messages, DMs, emails, like everything I got regarding like the shutdown. Everyone's like pretty bummed.
I just know from the because I just shared the like the
Facebook
posts and stuff like that, and just from the little bit, that was still like the most thing that I've gotten in the few weeks, than people have actually reacting to something that I post.
Yeah, a lot of people are bummed, and only actually a few people asked me directly what happened. More of them were just kind of bummed that, well, one, we had to cancel our Halloween submission,
which is always like a big thing.
Which I not only accepted a bunch of stuff, but I was already working on them and putting them on the site. And again, I didn't actually have to shut everything down, but I will explain what happened, and then maybe people have a better understanding from our perspective. Because everyone knows, we're non-commercial, we're a non-profit. We've always, a lot of people said, the things we've done for the writing community, buying people's indie books, just promoting them. What really got me? I had a lot of messages from the authors who have been published on the site, and I was thinking, people are just going to be like, oh, well, what about my stories that were on there?
Yeah.
No, instead they were like, hey, you were one of the first, if not the first place that published us, and that opened the door, and I got published in a bunch of different other things.
That's pretty cool.
I've had quite a few people tell me that we were one of the first places they've been published, and that just having that on their resume that they've been published somewhere made it so they were able to get published through other because that's usually what it is. Once you have a couple, it's easier to get published in magazines and stuff. So it was that was kind of our goal to begin with when we started having feature writers, was just to get we always said, we don't pay, but the story's yours. Whatever we publish from you, you submit something, the rights are yours. You can message us anytime to take it down if you want to submit it somewhere else. We're fine with that. And even though we don't pay, it's we just want the spotlight on you. It's not about us. So that's what we always did, and people really seem to gravitate towards that because most places don't do that. They don't. It's all about making money.
Yeah, there's normally some kind of fee or something like that that comes along with it.
Yeah, and since we started this, it's always just been we spend money and that's it. We didn't make any money.
The worst you could say that we would get people is that it would help with contacts and views and stuff for the website. But honestly, it's not we
didn't really care about that though.
And it's not like it got to the point of we would ever made any money off of that. You know what I mean?
I mean, the only benefit we really got, personal benefit, monetary wise, from this is up till the pandemic, we always got to do press gigs for conventions.
Yeah.
We were still technically working them, but we did get in for free, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's the most we ever got out of this.
Yeah. So the reason why I shut down the site, I received a copyright infringement notice from, it's a copyright law firm. I think it's based in California. And it was for a photographer. It's in 2017, one of our first articles or something was about bookstores.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a post about I don't know, it was the top something coolest bookstores. I don't know. But back then we were just kind of figuring out what to do and how to get views. We didn't really pay too much attention to that. I don't even know how many views that article got, honestly. I didn't look. I just deleted it. But one of the pictures was a picture of one of it was a popular bookstore. It was the inside of it, and it was mainly just a picture of a doorway with books. And to find the origin of this picture actually took a lot of work. and I couldn't, like, when I looked up the picture, because you could just do the Google lens and it'll show you on Google, like, where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a shitload of, like, travel blogs, websites, articles, just different things. It's kind of similar to what our article was with that picture on it.
Yeah, because, like, that was always one of our things when it came to, like, images and stuff. We were always trying to look for things that were, like...
Had licensing for free.
Yeah, like, you know, free use and stuff like that. That's, like, whenever you first told me this, I was like, what? Yeah, like, what? Like,
Well, before I even get into when I actually found the origin of the picture, I looked on a lot of these websites and blogs and things, and I was just trying to find, like, well, who's the photographer for this? Because I didn't know maybe it was just a scam thing, like a very well done scam. But the photographer actually had, like, the digital signature, which is usually one of the main things, like, oh, this is legit.
Yeah.
So I was looking for some kind of credit, like somebody credited the photographer, they had a license, anything on any of these sites. I didn't find one single instance of anybody saying, you know, who the photographer of this picture was. Everybody just used it. So I was like, And the main thing, I found it a bunch of times on Pinterest. So I'm thinking that's probably how we ended up acquiring this somehow, was it was like just a random, you know, like Pinterest picture or something, and we just ended up using it or something. I did finally find the original source, because the first thing I did was look up the photographer, and really nothing came up for this photographer. So I don't know how professional they are. And they're based in, like, Europe somewhere. I'm not going to give any specifics, but I could not find the photographer for a while. And then I found a random Flickr account with that picture on it, and I looked, and it was the photographer's. It was their Flickr account, and it was set up where it was a lot of generic pictures that he had taken of popular tourist destinations. And it was almost set up just like, I don't know, like how you'd have your pictures on Facebook, right? Just like a bunch of random pictures. Profile thing or whatever it was, or at least for that picture, it specifically says do not use on websites, blogs, just the whole gamut. And I was like, that's a strange thing, just because it didn't say about permission, and like just said does not license this out, you can't use it. And then I looked on the Flickr thing to make sure there was like a legit copyright thing through them, and that you do get it through there. So I think, and this is just my theory here, I think what this person has done is they take these kind of generic pictures of popular tourist destinations, especially ones that'll show up on travel blogs and whatnot. And maybe that wasn't the goal at the time, but, you know, this is like, 5-6 years later.
Right.
So now,
which is another thing that kind of burns the bonnet.
Yeah, it's like such one of the fucking oldest things. That everything we've ever published, like something so old. And so random, because it wasn't even like that. Because I was looking at the picture, it was like slightly blurry. It wasn't like an amazing picture, you know. That's another reason we probably used it. It was just like, just like a random picture. And by the way, I looked on the official bookstore's website. It's a very famous bookstore, and that picture, which if you look on one of the images, was on like the Google search. I could not find it anywhere on there, so it was clearly removed from there. And I'm thinking for maybe the same reason. What it seems this person has done, I think, is probably under a different name or multiple accounts, probably uploaded that picture to like Pinterest or different places so it would get in the algorithm. So when you looked up that bookstore, that picture, and I'm sure I didn't look for their other, because they had a bunch of, like I said, a bunch of generic tourist pictures. So I would imagine they would show up on other ones. Because if you're not licensing the pictures out, why would you care about copyright? I think what their grift was here, because I didn't know this was a thing, but they're like the company that contacted me, they have like these copyright law firms where you send them like, hey, can you pay them, and they'd be like, hey, find instances of this picture online and then get them for copyright. So I think that's how they're making their money, is they have this law firm thing, scour the internet for these pictures. And like I said, I don't know if they've done this for other ones, but I'm sure they have. And then once they find the pictures, find which ones will at least get them some money, and then go after those people. So it was like what, $400 something that we could settle. From my research, it's like, it's kind of a gamble where it's like, if you just don't do the settle, and because most of the time, if somebody has a copyright infringement like that, especially from a non-commercial use thing or educational use, which we could fight to say it was an educational article because it was just like talking all about the bookstores and stuff. What you could do is you could just be like, hey, because sometimes they would just tell you to remove it. That's why I think this might be like a grift. It's like, why did you just tell us to remove it? We didn't make any money off of this work. So you could remove it and, do all that stuff. And that's the first thing I did. I just deleted the picture, and then I deleted the whole article because I didn't give a fuck about the article anyway. So what these companies do, though, is they just want to get any money. But if we took the gamble and be like, hey, we just removed it and we're not paying the money, they could either back down or they could be like, well, if you're not going to do that, we're going to sue you for $130,000.
Yeah.
Or something. It's like, is it really worth the risk for that fucking shitty picture or have to go to court? Or at the very least, we would have to hire a copyright lawyer.
Right.
And it'd just be like, well, that'd be more than what we have to fucking pay out. So that's why I made the decision. I'm just going to scrub the site of all media. Because, like you said, well, we normally use free pictures. I use, anytime we have posts, it's either the free pictures provided by WordPress, which there's a lot of those, or pictures that have come from like a free to license websites where you just download it off the website if you're, a member or whatever. There's a couple of those we've used throughout the years, and those are all fine. But we had a lot of book reviews, for instance, where we have book covers that just come from like Amazon or something. And even though we have a link to the Amazon where you could buy that book and it's a favorable review and everything like that, it's like, well, they could still technically, we didn't ask permission to use that book cover for the article. And then granted, I've seen these on all kinds of websites, but it's like, do we want to take that risk now?
That was whenever I was reviewing comics. And
that's what I say, comic art.
Yeah.
That's another thing, even though you're promoting the comics.
Well, what about that fucking shitty article of all the strong superheroes that we just took images offline?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was probably one of our most viewed things for the longest time.
Well, granted, I think a lot of those images were public domain, but it's hard to say,
right?
Without just going back and looking. And I just figured it'd be a lot easier just to scrub it all and start over. And before I get into the future of DPW and all that stuff, I was just it just really burns my ass because it's something so stupid. But I just keep thinking it's well, if this is a grift this one person came upon, I can get cheap money, because I don't know how much they have to pay a month for, technically would be probably a subscription through that, corporation or whatever. And I did look recently, I think it was either earlier today or last night, I looked up that picture again just to see how many posts were on there, and I noticed a lot of them have gone down. So this person probably waited for a while and then just, shot them all out to either get money off of these people or get them shut down. But like I said, the bookstore website, which might have been where we got it too, if it wasn't Pinterest, obviously didn't have the photographer credited because it's off of there. They probably got a good chunk of change from them, I'd imagine. Because most people, they just settle because, honestly, the normal settlement for these kind of things would be $750 would be the low end.
Yeah.
So we didn't even have that, but it's just fucking bullshit,
And especially whenever you obviously didn't give a shit about the picture, because if it was never credited on any, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They didn't license this picture out, and they were basically just using it as almost not even a portfolio, just hey, here's travel pictures. There was no, like I said, I could not find if this photographer had any official website, anything else. The only thing I found was there was a website that sold, again, kind of generic photos, but not like that. They were like a car or something, almost like a commercial kind of photo that had attributed, well, the name, that the photographer's name came up for it, but I couldn't find a profile on there for the photographer, so I'm not sure. And they were all sold for $3 or something. They're posters or something. Regardless, it's 100% legal for this person to do this. And even though we think, it's a pretty shitty thing, it almost comes down to if somebody used your art they didn't make money off it, they weren't making prints at a Comic-Con or anything. It's you just be hey, can you take that down? And that'd be the end of it, right?
That would give me credit, hey, pictures, in the bottom of a lot of pictures by,
because that picture came up so many times in top bookstores and top this and top travel places or where to go when you're in this city. That picture kept popping up, so a lot of people use this. And I'm sure those.
And I wonder how many people took a picture that is very similar to that picture.
It's very possible. Well, when I looked up, because in the Google Lens, not only does it show you the instances of that picture, but things that look like it, and a lot of ones that do, somebody took one from a slightly different angle. It's it's not like it was an original picture that was really cool, but because they put it on Flickr, they have a copyright. Well, even if you just take the picture, you have a copyright. It's yours, but.
But I remember when you were first telling me about this, one of the first things that was popping in my head was a few years ago when I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and they were talking about like, because I don't know if it's something that occurs now as often, but there for a while there was a lot of people getting striked for like copyright traits on like their podcast or just like or for their YouTube videos.
YouTube was a big one, yeah,
and stuff like that. And like that immediately was like the first thing that popped in my head is just like, this person took like not a great photo and is just trying to
get money from
weasel their way into trying to get
like
as
I said,
much
it's a
money.
good grift if you know how to
I
do
mean,
it.
yeah, I guess, yeah.
This is another thing, like if he's we'll digress here a little bit, like we always do. After I looked, because I was looking up all kinds of copyright laws and stuff, because I knew like always like the basics and what fair use falls under, but I was like, we just normally like just use free shit that has license, you don't have that problem. But one, I didn't know that, say if you had a meme that had that photographer's photo and you shared it on social media, like on Facebook, you just shared a meme and somebody claims they own that, technically they could get you for copyright. Like, how many memes and shit do you see just shared constantly on social media? Like, if somebody actually wanted to go through and do that, they could. Like, if a rich, because you probably have to have some good lawyer money for to go through that. But again, how much money you can actually get if you're going after people on Facebook or Twitter or just sharing memes? Like I said, most of the time, like 99% of the time, if somebody was really like, hey, you use my photo and without credit, like either give me credit or take it down.
Yeah.
Now, it would be different if this was like, I don't even want to say like a known photographer, but like a really professional photographer. That's what clearly they're making their living, taking that picture and making album covers or whatever they're doing, and you use that art. But if it's essentially somebody's fucking scrapbook picture you're using, it's like that'd be like somebody went to my Facebook, and when I went to Maine, I took a picture of the big lumberjack.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was in It. That was in the movie It. That was, it's a famous landmark. But like somebody used my picture in an article about Maine or something, or like, oh, top 10 travel sites, and then like number 5 was lumberjack in Maine, and somebody used my picture. Even if they made money off that, I probably personally wouldn't give a shit. Yeah. I'd just be like, hey, credit me. I probably think it was weird they took it off my Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
But like you couldn't get a better picture of this somewhere else?
Yeah, but like just the fact that it'd be up there, I'd be like, whatever. But, people feel different about ownership. I don't know. I think in Europe, like, the copyrights are way stricter anyway, so I don't know how they feel about it. But it's like, whatever, I'll just wash my hands with it. And I had a few people, I'm sure, think, like, well, it seems like a pretty big overreaction to shut down the whole site. But the simple answer is, after you scrub all the media and there's no pictures, the site looks like shit.
Yeah.
Even if I build up the site with, like, the pictures and stuff, just like like our logo and stuff, like bring that stuff back just to make the website okay. All the posts, none of them have pictures anymore. They just have these blank spaces in them, and they don't have fucking headline pictures. And that's what I was doing when you came over. It was, even though I hated to do it, I deleted all the feature writer stuff. So past submissions, everything like that, I delete that. I'm contemplating whether I should delete all the, like just the DPW podcast off of there, because it's literally impossible for me to go back and incorporate, add free pictures back to every post, even if it was just the featured image, not even in the post itself, just a featured image. Put it this way, the DPW podcast alone, I think, was like 260 something posts.
Something like that, yeah.
So that would just be 264 pictures I would have to get just for the featured image for the podcast. That doesn't go into our stories and each of our stuff. So I deleted the feature writers because I was just never going to get to that. I deleted all the all the reviews. Every review that would have had, and I backed up all the stuff though, so I exported the whole website. So if we ever really like, oh shit, I actually really needed that article for some reason, I could bring it back. I could bring everything back. So it's not like it's lost permanently. The pictures are though, because I did that because I don't want anything to do with fucking pictures now.
Just scrub it.
Paranoid. I don't like it. Fucking bullshit.
Yeah, because it only takes one person to be like, oh wait, this person, they had their picture on their website and they got like almost $500 off of them.
Yeah,
my picture's on there too. What can I get off of them?
Right, and it's not like we're an actual big company by any means. Yeah, like we're not a fucking company.
Like we don't even have ads.
Yeah, we don't have ads. We're non-profit. Like I'm sure this person saw it was Drunken Pen Writing, because they sent us a screenshot of the picture on the site and also of our privacy policy. So they must have thought, oh, that means like a big magazine or something, like a fucking New York Times or something. Like they're gonna get some kind of money. I was like, God damn it! And I was like, well, fuck it. I just scrubbed the site. I've really been toying around with what to do with it now. So as I have it now, it's just pretty much me, you, and Ashley's stories.
Yeah.
And our, some of our articles that I liked and stuff in the podcast stuff so far. So that's all we have on the site. Like I said, I can't just go back and put pictures. And if we're honest with ourselves, since the pandemic, we've mainly just been using the site for storage and then the Halloween stuff or featured stuff. We've barely been contributing ourselves other than the podcast.
Well, because we've been focusing on other, it's not to say that we've outgrown the website, because I feel like kind of will always still need some kind of website in some form,
right?
Because it just feels weird not
having it
for for the episodes. It's just
Well, the real kick in the nuts, by the way, was this happened right when we're hitting our anniversary. If just would have did this at the end of last month, we wouldn't have had to pay the subscription for another year. It's we can't even delete the fucking thing because now I have a whole year's subscription. You can't get a refund. You only get a refund up to 7 days after you pay for it. It's God damn it. What I proposed to you was, at first, until I realized what an undertaking this would be to just restart the site fresh, which I still could do, but I have to look up some import stuff to see how it worked, and then just reintroduce our stories and our things we do, and just publish everything again throughout the upcoming years. And I'm just I don't know if I want to do that now, because that'd be really hard. And maybe it would be best if we took our stories that are on there, since they're no longer on the internet technically. Actually, the site's just private now, so they are there, but nobody can find them or read them. And maybe just start trying to submit to other magazines and stuff, and try to use some of those stories and the ones we're not using for the anthology. Because now I'm thinking maybe the anthology will just be the DPW's last hurrah.
Right.
We'll do a nice introduction, what was once was, and the drunk we all became, or whatever. It just, it's gone. We had a good run. It was 6-7 years. That was a good run, I think. Especially for something we were just kind of didn't know what we were doing at all at the beginning. Which also kind of goes with the fucking stupid picture thing, because you have an unlicensed picture, because back then I was coming off of doing a lot of freelance work where the websites all just told me to take any picture.
Yeah.
I didn't care about licensing at all. At least I cared about licensing. I just I thought that was a fair use picture because it looked like it came from some kind of fair use government site or something. I was fuck it.
Yeah, I wonder how long they had to fucking go scrolling through the fucking website just to find that thing.
I don't know. That one was shared a lot at the beginning, so maybe it popped up somewhere, but I don't fucking know. So the future of the website, as of now, I really can't say.
It's very up in the air.
Yeah, it's either going to be completely built back up from the dirt, or just going to let that ride out, and we'll just take stuff from it. And then I don't know if you don't renew your subscription, I think the site, it's not it's deleted. It just reverts to the free version WordPress site. And since we don't have any media on there now, I don't think that'd be I think maybe it would just be a blog. And I was also toying maybe we just come back as a low-end literary blog of just our work.
Yeah.
This also has made me think, because I've been toying with this idea for a year or two now. And again, the website's almost become a crutch, where it's I haven't been submitting to a lot of magazines. I only submit a handful of times a year, because I'm just I just go on the website. Yeah. That's what I always thought. It's well, if I don't get this one magazine, instead of submitting to 10 other ones, I'll just put it on the website. That's what I've always done. And it's probably shooting myself in the foot there. And then I'm just like I said, I've been toying with the idea of starting an actual Caleb James author's website.
Yeah.
I have my own author's website, and I've been looking up stuff on that to see what would be a good author's website, and you have your own little blog, and then I could just do that a lot, not as fancy as the DPW one was, just more minimal, and it would be okay, and I could just post stuff on there, and maybe
we were talking about the very bare bones, there's the nitty gritty.
Yeah, but the writing.
Yeah.
Just the writing. Again, it's just so stupid because all it is just because of the pictures. Literally, the writing, everything was above board,
Yeah.
We never took anybody's writing or anything. Nothing that was, because we did have classic literature stuff on there, but that was all fucking fair use because it's all in the public domain. But anyway, regardless of what goes with the site, we planned on keeping the podcast going, but then I thought, well, maybe, because the podcast, I think that subscription, or, that has to renew in February. So that gives us, 4 months or something, 5 months, whatever it is. So I was thinking maybe that's a good time for us to just, because we always talk about this, it would be nice to be able to have a podcast where we can hit other topics, you know, a wider array of topics besides just books and literature. So I suggested to you, maybe we should finally do that. And then just let the DPW podcast, when the renewal's up, just let that fade off and, you know, ride off into the sunset. So we had a very good run here. The podcast has been all over the place with different episodes and shit, too, because it's not, like I said, it's very hard to come up with topics for the same thing.
I would say that the podcast would just basically if we go that route, it would basically just kind of change in name, but in spirit very much be the same. Because I'm sure, like, a lot of, like, there's free range format will also circle back to a lot of books and you know what I mean? Like, sure. That's probably going to be, it's probably just going to be like, it's going to be all the same stuff that we do normally, like, because we probably still do book reviews or, you know, book of the months and stuff like that, because I like doing that. I like that stuff. I like when we,
Well, here's one problem we have, which limits our audience, is on the categories. I think we're under arts/books because that's what we are. It's like a writing podcast. Maybe writing if writing's whatever the categories, either books, writing, or reading, whatever, one of those.
Should try to get into art.
Well, here's the thing. Well, it's the art's the main category, so you're under that too. If you look on there's a lot of the same kind of websites. We're all competing with them. But if we broaden our horizons, then we go under the society and culture banner.
Because if anybody's listening to DPW at all,
well, I was looking, and it just like most of the I don't know if the two guys one cave podcast is on there, but like because they're a comedy one too, and they're under comedy as well. But I feel like a lot of those also are lumped under the society. No, I just look. This is just on the Podbean. I don't know how they have the categories on like iTunes and shit.
It probably varies a little bit from each platform to each platform, I'd imagine.
Yeah, because like how we talked too about, you know, well, if we ever start a new podcast or create a new website or something, it's like that doubles our how much we're going to have to spend a year. Yeah. But if we just let these run out, it would just be switching over. Yeah. So it would be the exact same for us, you know, money-wise. Well, not even for you. You'd be making out, because if I just did my own writer's website, unless you wanted me to help you do your own writer website, you wouldn't have to. It would just be me spending that on that. So, the categories.
Though it does suck, though, to put that, like, especially by the time this runs out, like, almost, like, 300 episodes to never be, like, seen or heard from again.
Yeah. Well, here's also, because I mentioned this when I was texting you about this stuff. One problem that we have, and I could just tell from like the downloads we get, people might check out a newer episode if the title's interesting, but unless they're a long time listener, if they just go back to the beginning when the fucking first 10, 15 episodes sounded like shit.
Oh, yeah.
And they were just kind of garbage. Even because I put a disclaimer at the very first episode, but we didn't know what we were doing back then.
Yeah.
We had helicopters flying around, all kinds of shit. It was bad. It was very fucking gritty. But I know just from experience, there's some podcasts where I go to listen to them, and the first like handful of episodes, they sound very shitty, and I'm the kind of guy I like to listen in order for the most part.
Yeah, you like the progress.
But if it's like a podcast kind of like ours, where there's a lot of inside jokes like that we use every episode, like your stupid names or something, it's just like sometimes I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. Like, this podcast doesn't sound very good. I'm not going to check out the rest. I think that happens to us. But if we start a new podcast with our current equipment and knowing what we're doing at least sounds decent, I think we can get people to actually stick around from the beginning to wherever we go. And
do you think could we ever take like any like the like, you know, if we do go that route and like some of the Drunken Pen episodes, like we post them on the new podcast, just so like, cause like I think like we've had some I think we've had some like good like interviews and like I said like the book of the month talks and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Well, I have every MP3 saved, so I could upload any podcast to another one if we wanted to. It'd be like, hey, DPW special.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to let DPW completely die. Though I thought about like, well, if we, the podcast is done. Well, before I even get to that, because I also mentioned to you, like, because your worry was, well, what about our listeners we built up over these years and stuff? Well, if we, from the DPW, like Twitter and our social media and stuff, and on this podcast, promote the new one before it comes out, record episodes for the new one, have everything planned out before it comes out, we could be like, transition people.
You know what we should try to do? We should try to come up with something that we still have the same initials, but it's something, it's not Drunken pen writing, but it's something else. So it's kind of like the same, but it's different.
It's the same fucking initials. That's so lazy. Oh man.
Or is it good marketing?
Yeah, I guess. Fuck, what was I gonna say? I was trying to think of fucking names for that. Like, that acronym would be awful. DP just that's already
yeah, right.
losing bet there.
Might get us more views though.
Possibly.
But you were talking about difference for the website.
This is more of a selfish plan.
Okay.
So once DPW is officially dead in the water.
Yeah, we've
retired.
Just hold its head under the water until the bubbles stop.
Once we don't need any kind of promotion from it and the accounts, I think I'm gonna, if I can, because I don't know if you can actually do this, but because I think I could change the handle and I could change the email, so maybe I could repurpose the DPW Twitter to my author's Twitter to go to my website, and then I could just steal all those followers that we have, which is only fucking 1,600 or something. But it's hard to build followers on there, and especially from scratch. I want to do that, and so if I was to use Twitter on that account, I would do it that way, and then I just like lazy guy way. But that's kind of what we've been talking about here, and I feel really bad for all the people that were super excited about the Halloween thing,
right?
Because there were some people that were really excited, and then I had to fucking literally one person,
just pulled it.
One person I told that very morning that they we're gonna publish your work, and they were real excited, and they just got back to me with some of the information, and then I had to be later I made the post, and I was like, sorry, I had to email them well, yeah, that ain't happening, and they're like, god damn it, I'm not gonna get published. So that sucks. But it is what it is, and I'd rather not get sued or have to pay lots of money for shitty pictures that we use.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if it was a good picture.
Yeah, like I said, if at least somebody's cool art or something we stole, but... And I don't even know how many of those early articles and stuff we did, because a lot of, like I said, memes, I know I've used meme pictures that I just found that were funny that related to the article or something. That's the only main unlicensed things I use for the most part on the site was memes or some funny pictures that had if you look it up, it's just a million of them. Again, that's probably how I came upon that one picture. It was on Pinterest and used everywhere, and I just assumed that it was a fair use generic picture because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't have, because no matter what, I could not find a fucking license for it because there isn't one. It's just from the stupid Flickr profile, and that's it. It's really, it's just that's how you're gonna get your money. So I'm going to give that photographer's name and address everyone can... No, I won't do that.
Not if we had such information.
Yeah. So what are your plans here, Spencer?
I don't...
You don't know?
No.
Though I still think the anthology could come out as a DPW imprint. Like I said, we could make that our last hurrah. And if we wanted, we could always do that in the future, too, just a DB... the collective doesn't... Just because there's no website doesn't mean the DPW has to die.
Right.
It's just like you were saying, it's not that we necessarily outgrew it, but we definitely kind of been neglectful of it. We haven't really made it any kind of priority in our writing because now we're kind of focused on our bigger things.
Yeah.
So I feel like that the website and us building up DPW and all that stuff kind of served its purpose. Helped improve our writing, how to submit things. We learned a lot of shit.
Right.
And then the same thing with the podcast. We just transitioned to the podcast, where it's kind of took over for the website, honestly, of us just talking about writing and learning and improving. And I don't know. I've had a lot of fun over the years, but I have been since at least a year now. I've been really itching for some kind of change, and I just haven't been able to fit because one's the big one's my job. It's I think I want a new job, but I know I won't be happy at another job because it's not the job itself. It's just that I'm not doing what I want to do in life. And unless I'm writing or become a novelist or something in the creative field, I'm never going to be happy at any job. I just what the fuck am I going to do? And I've been writing this novel and it's been going good, but then at the same time, even just having because now I have all this time since I don't have to go over all these submissions and stuff. I'm what the fuck do I do with myself?
Yeah,
because I'm so used to at the very minimum I have to edit the podcast and do some posts for the site.
I would say normally this is a very busy time of the year for you.
I'm usually hammered. Like I said, I had so many submissions going in. I was holy fuck, but now they're all gone. So I don't know. The future. I like to look at it with optimism and say big things will happen for us.
Yeah, Well, like we said, we still have a decent amount of time on both things before anything runs out.
Well, the main bonus here, too, of this situation, if you want to look at the cup half full, is that even though we're essentially losing something we built all this time, and then even if we give up the podcast, we've never hit such big numbers on anything other than your one stupid millions of views article that would have probably got us in trouble for copyright infringement.
You would think if
anything,
anything,
a lot of superhero stuff on it, and millions of
anything
people
you think
saw
that
it.
would have been like
That would have been the one.
You think Disney would have been on that?
Disney or DC or whoever. Anyway, the one bonus of all this though is that since it wasn't like we were so popular and out in the ether that it'd be like, the Paris Review going under or something.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like the Atlantic or some major publication going under. It's not like, the fucking stupid Joe Rogan podcast just tanked. It's not like something that it feels like you can't recover from, because it's essentially, I like to look at it as this was just kind of the first 5 rungs on a ladder that we've climbed in, and now we're finally getting a little high in the air and looking around and we're like, you know what? I think we got to keep going, and maybe it's time to maybe we need a bigger ladder,
And like you said, we are, and then we have the time. So hopefully, as we figure out more the direction that we're going, you guys will definitely know.
Yeah.
So if we do go that completely different thing, you know where to find us. We're not gonna be that difficult. To get to if you want to, continue listening to us for some reason.
Though with the new podcast, I would like to be more strict with the topics we are covering, and maybe we don't need to release an episode every week. We can still record if we have the time to do every week, but maybe not have to actually prepare the episode better versus just, how we kind of wing a lot of things or we look up some things.
Are we gonna become one of those podcasts that you see on the Instagram reels where they're just like, it's all video and it's just they're sitting in chairs?
I thought about that too. I was like, well, if we do a new podcast, should we get video? But then, is that podcast going to be unedited?
Yeah, right.
How dumb are we going to sound? I don't know.
How dumb are we going to look?
We do got this fancy studio we never fucking have anybody see, so maybe.
But, have you noticed that a lot with, podcasts? At least, when you see the clips of podcasts, on the Instagrams and stuff like that, it's there's nobody's, at the table anymore.
Yeah.
They're always, in, a studio area with, chairs, and they got their own mics in front of you. And,
I think a lot of people now rent out, podcast. If you're in LA and stuff, they have, literal. They also have YouTube buildings where it's just, you can go rent out a set where you can rent out a podcast studio, which is kind of cool, but it's easier than buying all your own shit.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to bring this up, too. Another option, especially if we, go the video route and stuff. I noticed Ash from the Ear Read This podcast, we've been buddies with him for a while. He's posted a lot less frequently on the podcast, but he posts all the time on YouTube now, and he does. And I'm wondering, maybe it's just easier, and he's just getting a lot more, because even that hardcore literature podcast I listened to, that Benjamin McAvoy guy, he looked like he had a lot of episodes for a while. Then I got caught up, and now he hasn't posted one in 2 months, and he's doesn't post podcasts very frequently, but he posts a bunch of YouTube videos. So I'm it seems like that's where the money is. So if we could just do YouTube video podcast, and then just also we could edit that as a podcast itself, that'd be a cleaner version of the podcast, but the video version we could just be all stupid and
Yeah.
So we could do so say podcast, just more of an extended YouTube version, and that's more equipment.
Yeah.
That's more learning.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of how we're gonna set that up.
Yeah, because at the very least you want the two for the cutaway, or we could just do the both of us. Yeah. But then what are we gonna be looking like this?
Yeah, that's
I
weird.
I don't know. Maybe just have an overhead drone.
Yeah, there we go. Mindy can fly it from the living room.
Yeah, but anyway, at the fucking beginning of the week when this shit happened, I was very bummed. I was like,
yeah, and it fucking came in a real
out of nowhere. It was literally the last minute I was at work. Right before I walked out the door, I looked at it, and I didn't even. I think I just saw it, and I saw the money, and I was like, all right. I was like, oh, please be a scam, please be a scam. And then I got home and I researched the fuck out of the company to make sure they're legit, and I was like, God damn it, really, fucking so stupid. Fucking world sucks.
Well, that's I was just gonna say I just I told you the other day, I recently just finished the first draft of a new story that I'm working on, And like the day before you told me about this, so it's like, oh yeah, I finished the first draft, but we gotta give money away now, and everything is gone now.
Your life's work is gone. Fucking bullshit. Well, it could be worse. At least we actually have the posts and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like some weird hacker got into the web, which is another fear always has, like a hacker get in the website and just delete everything or make it porn or something. So I don't know. Ashley, he was irate for a minute, and then he just seemed apparently he's like recording audiobooks for people now or something.
Oh yeah.
Like, well, about time, fucker, with your golden voice.
I mean, yeah, right. And plus, like, because like I said, like I would read things with him just doing his
Nigel Thornberry.
Yeah.
Or his Alex Jones.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll have to plan with him too about the podcast, because he said since he's doing like the audiobook stuff, he's got to get like better equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So
Other than just walking around on his phone.
yeah, so maybe we get the new podcast up. He could either be a permanent member or just like he is now, just jumps on.
But maybe more of a frequent.
Yeah,
because that was another thing I was wondering about when you was telling me about this. I was like, fuck, that sucks for Ashley too, because like he's like the other main, besides you and me, he's like the other main, the other main guy. And like he's had like a lot of work on the website and stuff like that,
Yeah, and like especially like too, because he had like the Drunken book reviews that were really good, and like, well, I definitely had to delete those. Like you can't fucking, because again, we use covers and the art from the books, and I was like, and not all his book reviews were favorable. Some of his book is shit. So I can see somebody coming up, well, he thinks my book is shit. Well, he used my book cover for his stupid featured image, so fuck him, I'm suing. Because I know he ain't got no license for that. Right. I did find out, though, because I was looking this up when I was thinking of the anthology title, which I'm thinking of Bottom of the Bottle at Drunken Pen Anthology.
Bottle or barrel?
Bottle.
Okay.
Bottom of the Bottle, But I looked at the title, and I found out you cannot copyright a title, so you can have 10 books called The Shining.
Well, I mean, like, how many times is there, like, a song in a movie and a TV show has the same title? Like, it's very hard. Like, it would be very hard to copyright a title, I would think.
The copyright laws are so weird, and, like, this big companies like Disney and shit are making it so hard, too, now. Like, I honestly am so surprised, and I know we talked about this in the past, how the vendors at conventions that sell prints, how they have not been fucking busted yet.
Oh, yeah.
For selling prints of just other people's art.
Well, I think that's very, like, I think that's a lot of, like, companies with, like, the heat that we will get if we try to, like,
come down,
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? And just, like, the bad, like, because it would look very bad on their part to do something like that.
Well, also, just looking up the copyright stuff, I don't know how all these millions of views, big-time reviewers for, like, TV shows and stuff on YouTube use the images, because I know you could change it a certain way, or if you show video clips you could do it a certain way, and I know there's promotional stuff that you're allowed to use, but like I've seen some stuff, like that one Dragon Ball guy that got shut down from what was it,
Totally Not Mark was his name, but he got from Toei.
Yeah, they shut him down, and I don't know, did he ever come back?
Yeah, he's back, and like he was able to get like a lot of his videos back, where he had to do like slight editings and stuff like that. But yeah, it's
here's a good, like, I follow this one guy, he does like cinema breakdowns, and obviously if you're doing like Stanley Kubrick's work or something, like he's showing clips from it,
or
images,
stills,
it's but it's all copyrighted images, and I know the guy's not getting permission from dead Stanley Kubrick or his estate to do that. What's to stop somebody from suing you? I guess the way YouTube is, you just get the copyright strikes because there's just so much of it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, what if that guy had his own personal website and then he used it? But then, like, you have the parody laws, which are very weird. But, like, I'll follow an angry video game nerd. He's playing all these fucking video games. He's showing clips of the play. Well, any, like, Twitch streamers and stuff, they can show them playing the video games. That's fine. Like, I don't know where the fucking lines are drawn.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just so paranoid about it now, and I don't like it. I just don't like it. You gotta fucking get the man when he's down. But I feel like it's probably just like these fucking low-end grifters that would really try to get you for it. Big companies, like I said, would probably just, even most people just be like, yeah, just take it down or credit me.
Yeah.
Because obviously that picture on the fucking website wasn't hurting anybody. We weren't making money off of it. It wasn't saying anything bad about the picture or the photographer or even it was literally like an educational post. It's like, oh, here's a cool bookstore. And the picture went along with it. And you're just like, you're going to have a problem. Like, you could have just been like, hey, can you take that down? Sure. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'll delete the whole article. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, it would no problem. But no, just immediately go to legal action because you want to get your fucking money. And I just get mad. And then you disappointed a bunch of people for
Bollocks.
Halloween.
It's all bollocks.
It's all bollocks. So anyway, folks, we thank you for listening. If you want to pay our legal fees, you could do that.
Right?
Then we'll post whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you guys want to get a Patreon together, or what's the other one? Not crowdfunding, but it is crowdfunding.
Indiegogo,
or one of those.
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Yeah, GoFundMe is what I was thinking of. If you want to give us money on GoFundMe,
to go fight the man.
Yeah, so the higher the money you have, the more legal shit we'll fucking steal to put on the site. Whatever,
Yeah.
You want a Conan fucking book? We'll just post all modern Conan images. Fuck it. Talk about Conan. Whatever, man. So anyway, if you want to check out our work, you can't.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Because there is no drunkenpenwriting.com as of now. You can still follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Drunken Pen Writing on Instagram and Facebook. The Twitter is Drunk Pen Writing. Spencer's OnlyFans, which he does not get copyright infringement for, even though he's the Serengeti Squirrel Sniffer Church, which is weird.
And the podcast will still be showing up in your feeds, like wherever you get your podcast from.
Unless our listener base just severely tanks because they all turned out to come from the website. And then, fuck it.
Then we might get started on that new podcast a little bit early.
Well, we immediately got 20 downloads for the last episode, like right off the bat. So at least whatever subscribers, or I don't know what the fuck they're on, because it doesn't say on Podbean. I think we only got like 1 or 2 followers on Podbean, but they don't like. Because I know me and you and a bunch of other people are subscribed to it. Yeah. So why it doesn't show that? I don't know. Maybe because it's not through the Podbean app. But anyway, actually, I think their following's different. It follows the web page because technically you have a website still. It's the Podbean website, which is what I'm going to share the podcast from now on. What the fuck was I saying?
Yeah, intro or outro.
Outro?
Yeah, my OnlyFans.
Oh, your stinky, dirty OnlyFans. I don't know. Who cares? So if you folks want to say goodbye to the Drunken Pen Writing. No, I was talking about the fucking downloads.
Oh, yeah.
Stupid ass. Yeah, so we had like at least that is good for the initial downloads. I have to look at the numbers to see what our like weekly or whatever our total comes out to be, and then I could be like, okay, this many we lost from the website, or this many is still active, or whatever. I don't know, because we do have email followers too. So, but they're not getting posts now because there's no website. So, anyway, we're sad, and we'll talk to you next week.